And why is it that every single one of us who is an expert in our field is completely useless in terms of coming up with a disruptive innovation in that field? Because the neocortex fundamentally is a pattern matching device. The day you become expert in your field, you can only come up with an incremental evolution. Every disruptive solution is going to come from people who are non-experts.
I look at it as the science community's responsibility to explain what is it about, what does this teach us about our place in the universe, about, think of the age of the universe, the fact we can measure this with great precision, that we can know these figments of theorists' imaginations called black holes actually exist. And, I think the great job that was done with the Mars landing, making that accessible to everybody. And, I think that all of us scientists have to try to express excitement and fascination, and what is it that makes this endeavor worthwhile to society.
It's not NASA's job to make sure that I can go to space just because I want to.
Right.
Nor is it even really NASA's job to make sure that I can go to space because it's a faster way for me to get from San Francisco to London to do my business. Nor is it even NASA's job to make sure that when I was an undergraduate student I could go to space or I could build an experiment to go to space. NASA does all those things, but it does them in these numbers of 1 or 2. If you look at the total number of satellite launches per year, in a really good year it might be 2 or 3 dozen. That's not the way that you get radical breakthroughs. So I think what Virgin Galactic is trying to do, and what some of the other interesting enterprises in space like Elon are doing, is trying to lower the quantum unit, the base price for what you can buy to get yourself into space, to get your payload into space if you're a researcher, to get your educational video into space if you're a high school teacher or an elementary school teacher who just wants to get your students excited.
But the fact is space has never been looked at from an entrepreneurial perspective. People have looked at it from a scientific perspective, and I believe it is the government's job to go out and explore the big frontiers of science and create the underlying technologies so the private companies can come behind it and really bring it to the masses. And that's what the Virgin Galactic is doing. That's what the Elon Musk is doing, and that's what the Moon Express is doing. It's our job to commercialize and make sure we can capture the human imagination. Imagine if we can take your child who is born the first day, his or her footprint, and put them on the moon. So when the settlers come in, your baby's footprint will always be there for billions of years to come. Imagine if you could do that for $50.
I mean, if I could build a telescope in my garage and only have to spend $1,000 to launch it, we could build things in a totally different way than we have to when every launch is minimum, $100 million. But for astrophysics, I would say it's all about building bigger telescopes. And if we could figure out really how to robotically assemble things in space at Lagrange point, or robotically assemble large telescopes, that would be
well, we're going to have a robotics person on later, so you can pose that question. But that seems to me doable, right?
Yeah, I think it's doable, but it's a lot of technology development, and I don't think people are really thinking that hard about how to do it now.
Interesting.